Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is grab this little red book. I've nicknamed it the Dream Catcher. As you can probably guess at this point, this is a book that I use to write each and every detail I remember about the dream that I've just had. And I've been doing this for about a month, and that's proven to be really, really helpful in other areas. But as I was doing that today, and I was being present and trying to remember what I had just dreamt the prior night, something came in my mind, and this was a phenomenon. That's what I would love to call it. About the first time I fell in love with a woman, mind, body, and soul. And there's a quote by Oliver Holmes that sums this up really, really well, where he said, "Every now and then, a man's mind will be stretched by a new idea of sensation, and it never shrinks back to its former dimensions." And this is kind of what happens when you get to experience that level, that depth of falling in love with someone's mind, body, and soul. Now, it's sort of like the Matrix, where you're given that red or blue pill choice, and when you choose that red pill, things will never be the same again. After having experienced falling in love with someone's mind, body, and soul, it completely changed the way I looked at dating and the way I looked at women and the way I engaged with them. And if you're unsure and you've never experienced it, hopefully this video kind of gives you a little bit of hope as far as its existence and the possibility that anyone can experience it. So let's get into it. In my experience, when it came to falling in love with someone's mind, is the admiring of somebody's intellectual engagement, the way they think, just their whole thought process. And it doesn't just allow you to exchange ideas with them, it puts you at a place where you actually want to sit back and listen to them. You're fascinated by just the way they formulate those ideas in their mind. And when you can experience that, it actually draws you a little bit deeper into someone's experience, into someone's existence, and admire them from a different perspective that most people don't get to enjoy. And when it comes to loving someone's body, this is a place that most of us are very familiar with. It's the ass, the titties, the things that we see, but it's not just on the surface level. It's being able to appreciate it and say that I love your body, I'm drawn to you physically, and you want to be able to connect with them at a deeper level, either through making love, through touching them in a loving and caring way, and showing them that you do value them and they matter to you through physical touch. Now, I'm the type of person that one of my main love languages happens to be physical touch. So that's a language that I tend to gravitate towards. And when it comes to the physical body, something that I also want to mention is that it's not falling in love and wanting somebody to stay as far as their physical shape the way they are right now to them being that way 10, 20 years down the line. There's a level of acceptance that has to come into play where we know that nothing is ever going to stay the same forever, because each and every second, each and every millisecond, our bodies are changing. So being able to love that process. And I think there's something that has to be said when it comes to drawing a line between there being accepting how we look, how things are going to change and whatnot, plus complacency. There's going to be a time when you have to determine that, okay, I accept and love myself to a certain level and I'm okay with things the way they are, but it doesn't lead you to complacency where you decide to not do anything and just let yourself go. Because to me, that's, yes, you could say it's self-acceptance, but at the same time, you're being complacent. You're just letting yourself go in a very, in my personal opinion, somewhat disrespectful way to you or the person that you might happen to be with. Be very mindful of that. Try to have clear definitions and encourage self-acceptance. Clarify where the line lies personally for you when it comes to not being in a complacent state. The third aspect of that holy trinity of falling in love with someone is the soul part. Now, nobody can see the soul. We can't really touch it, but most of us have an idea of what it is. And in my definition, when you fall in love with someone's soul, it's more of you fall in love with their true nature, their core essence. Who are they when everything is taken away? What are some of the values that they will hold when things are good? And is that value going to be there when things are bad? Because to be honest, I've had experiences when went out with women, we were at a restaurant, and when they were talking to me, they were the kindest people possible. But let's say when a stranger showed up, like a waitress, that demeanor they had changed. And that's a good way to tell where is somebody's core values at. Are they kind? To me, kindness is one of the things I look for when I'm dating someone. And when a woman shows me that the way they treat me is with kindness and respect, and when a stranger comes in and they treat them the same way, that can be very, very, very attractive. And I remember this happened with the first woman I ever fell in love with in this way, with this Holy Trinity, where we went somewhere. There was a girl who was working at a smoothie shop, a protein shop, and it was very overwhelming. There was a lot of people, like 20 people waiting for service, and it was only one person working there. And when we got to the front of the line, the girl was trying to get things moving fast. But that girl that I was dating at that time just looked at that girl and said, "It's okay, honey, just take your time. I know you're very busy. I appreciate you doing that." And she took the time to comfort somebody else who was in a place that was not as comfortable. So to me, that showed that she didn't really have to do that. So it's these things that you don't have to do, but you choose to do because that's what you are at the core. And you can sit back and be able to observe someone you're dating and be able to decide and say, I truly love the way this person either is self-disciplined, the way this person handles business, or the way this person is kind, if that's something that is valuable to you. This is something that anyone can experience, to be honest, but in order for anyone to experience this, you have to be very hyper aware. You have to be present in each and every one of those scenarios, because you don't have the luxury to appreciate that if you cannot focus on greater discipline on being present. And before I end this, I just want to give you guys a word of warning. If you ever find yourself in a place where you get to fall in love with someone to this level of depth, mind, body, and soul, what I want to tell you is that you will not look at dating the same. And what that will do is it will diminish, it will drastically reduce the amount of people that you're capable of going out with and truly having a really good time and connecting with. Because again, once that bar is set, it's very hard, close to impossible, for you to accept anything less than that. So I hope that clarifies things for a few people who are out there who are wondering if this place of connecting, loving, and being with someone exists. Yes, you can connect with someone and love them on a mind aspect of things, the way they think. On a body, truly admire their physical body and grow and accept change with them. Plus, at the same time, admire who they are to their core, their true essence. Who are they naturally when things are happening that favor them, or when things are happening that are not favoring them? Where do they choose to stay? So I hope you guys found some lessons on this video. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And for those of you who might be wanting to access more content, go to Evans-Sabbi.com. You can book a free session there should you want to do that. And I will talk to you guys in another video.